Okay, so let's get into a topic that, honestly, quietly runs the show for so many of us: the father wound. We're going to take a look at those invisible blueprints that kind of steer our hearts and our relationships, a lot of times without us even having a clue. Does this sound familiar to you? That weird feeling of deja vu in your love life, where the arguments, the anxieties, even the people you're attracted to, it all just feels like the same pattern, just on a loop? If you're nodding along, you are in exactly the right place. We're about to figure out where that pattern comes from. So, to really get a handle on that repeating pattern, we have to go back to the original blueprint. So, what in the world is a father wound, really? And how does it end up creating this silhouette in our minds that we're always subconsciously trying to fill? At its heart, it's all about our very first model for what love and safety are supposed to feel like. So when that model is missing, or it's just really inconsistent, or maybe even damaging, it leaves this huge gap. It totally warps our idea of what it means to be protected, to be valued, to be loved no matter what. And that, of course, has a massive ripple effect on all of our future relationships. So, how does this actually show up in your day-to-day life? Well, it might look like that constant need to achieve, feeling like your worth is completely tied to your last success. Or maybe it's a real struggle with authority figures, bosses, partners, where you're either fighting them constantly or you're desperately trying to please them. It can look like having really weak boundaries, or on the flip side, having walls so high that nobody can get in. And this is a big one. It often shows up as this deep, quiet feeling that you just don't really deserve good things, which, of course, leads you right back to partners who feel familiarly difficult. Okay, so now let's connect the dots. Let's see how this internal blueprint starts to literally build our external reality. This isn't just some vague feeling. It's the actual engine that drives why history just seems to keep repeating itself, especially when it comes to the people we love the most. This analogy just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? I mean, if the foundation is shaky, everything you try to build on top of it it's at risk of collapsing. We don't even realize we're doing it, but we cast our partners in these roles they never signed up for, expecting them to somehow fix a structure that was wobbly long before they ever showed up. This psychology behind this is just wild. It's actually called repetition compulsion. It's our brain's unconscious, desperate attempt at a do-over. We find ourselves drawn to what feels familiar, even if that familiarity is painful, because there's a little part of us that believes, this time I'll get it right. This time I can finally win the love I never got. And this kicks off such a devastating cycle. It starts with you picking someone who feels familiar, right? Which of course just keeps that old wound wide open. Then, as you get closer, as the commitment gets deeper, your anxiety just shoots through the roof. And that triggers all the old survival tactics. You're either clinging for dear life or you're pushing them away. Little disagreements, nope. They feel catastrophic, like you're being totally abandoned all over again. And then finally, the relationship falls apart, which only reinforces that core belief. See, I knew it. You can't trust anyone to stay. But here's the most important part of this whole conversation. This is not a life sentence. I promise. That cycle can absolutely be broken. So let's talk about how you can actually start to heal that inner blueprint and shift out of that role of the wounded child and into the nurturing adult you're meant to be. The healing process really kicks off with three absolutely crucial steps. First, you have to just acknowledge the reality of it and let yourself grieve the father you deserved but didn't get. Second, and this is huge, you have to depersonalize it. Their issues, their limitations, that was never about you or your worthiness. It was about them. And third, you start to reparent yourself. You start giving yourself the kindness, the protection, and that steady inner voice you were always missing. And when you do this work, the transformation it's profound. Instead of being drawn to these chaotic projects or people who are emotionally unavailable, you start to find yourself attracted to, well, consistency and kindness. Conflict doesn't feel like this huge personal threat anymore. It just becomes a normal part of growing with someone. And most importantly, your sense of self-worth becomes yours. It's rooted inside of you. You know you're okay whether you get someone else's approval or not. Okay, so you've been doing the internal work. What actually happens when you decide to step back into the dating world? Well, everything changes. Your entire radar for what makes a good partner gets this massive, necessary recalibration. You start looking for green flags instead. And, some of the things that might have felt boring before now feel like safety. Like, do their actions consistently line up with their words? Do they actually respect your boundaries?
Can they handle their own emotions without turning them into a weapon against you? And when you do disagree, does it feel like they're on your team?
Let's just look at the difference here in real time. The red flag response to a conflict is someone mocking you or giving you the silent treatment. The green flag, it's someone saying, "Okay, I hear you. Let's figure this out together." This is the kind of crystal clear contrast you'll start to see everywhere.
Okay, this is a really crucial mindset shift. Healing teaches you patience. That intense, intoxicating rush you used to think was chemistry, yeah, a lot of the time that was just a trauma response. Real, true safety isn't an instant spark. It's a conclusion you come to after consistently watching someone's character over a period of time.
So a great little rule of thumb here is what people call the 90-day rule. Just think of the first 3 months of dating someone new as a data collection phase. Why 90 days? Because pretty much anyone can put on an act for a few weeks, right? But it is really, really hard to keep a mask on for a full 3 months. Sooner or later, their true character is going to start to peek through. And to help you manage this new pace, it's so helpful to have a little toolkit of phrases. And look, these aren't scripts to push people away. They're actually tools to invite the right people in, respectfully. They let you control the speed, protect your own energy, and most importantly, see how a potential partner reacts when you state your needs. And if there is one thing you remember from all of this, let it be this. Setting a boundary is the ultimate test. The wrong person is going to see it as a challenge or an obstacle. But the right person, a truly healthy person, they're going to see it as a sign of your self-respect. And they will almost always respect you even more for it. So what's the big takeaway here? What's the final goal? It's all about completely redefining what you're even looking for. The goal isn't that chaotic, anxious spark we were all taught to chase. The real prize, the new chemistry, is that quiet, steady feeling of comfort. It's laughter. It's that profound, incredible relief of feeling like you can finally exhale.